Last week we were talking about euthanasia, especially in relation to our pets. And Rinpoche has a story that he shared that he says, as a boy, he had a small dog for many years. Rinpoche loved small dogs. His dream was to have a dog that he could just fit in his hand. He always wanted to get the smallest dog he could find. So he loved small dogs. And he had a number of small dogs during the time that I knew him. When he was 18, the villagers in his area went on a big picnic, and everybody brought their finest horses to race. Rinpoche's family had a wonderful horse that loved to run and always won the races, but most people thought that the horse was too wild to ride. But Rinpoche was a pretty good rider, so he decided to try. He knew there was a chance that the horse would throw him. So instead of carrying his little dog inside of his chuba like he always did, he left his dog at home that day with his attendant, and he promised to return the next day. So the whole time he was gone, his dog panicked, running repeatedly up the hill to the tent where his family lived and back down again. And he cried all night long. When Rinpoche returned, the little doggie seemed very happy to see him. But when it sat in his lap, it wouldn't stop crying. It felt as if he had really lost him. He ran away crying, and that night he didn't sleep in Rinpoche's bed. The next morning, Rinpoche found him at the place that he usually drank water, and he had died of sadness. Such a sad story. Then another person asks, I'm afraid you're saying that self-interest is bad, that we should concern ourselves only with the welfare of others. I devoted a large part of my life to the happiness of my husband and children, and in the process I actually lost myself. Only when I started to have compassion for myself was I able to feel compassion for others. Don't we need to take care of ourselves as well and not let people take advantage of us? And Rinpoche answers, it isn't wrong for you to love and care about yourself. But from a spiritual point of view, seeking personal fulfillment is not the wisest way to do so. The complete cessation of suffering and the attainment of enlightenment require the purification of all karma, the removal of all mental obscurations, and the actualization of all positive qualities. The only means of accomplishing this is to care for others. So actually, the most effective way of being loving and compassionate towards ourselves is to be loving and compassionate to others. Every step on the way to enlightenment, great beings selflessly serve others and never to their own detriment. For the rest of us, the need for this or that can be a disease. As our grip on me and mine gets tighter, the concept of self becomes more entrenched and the experience of the dream of life more solid. Ultimately, it doesn't matter whether your husband or children appreciated your kindness, because no kind act is ever lost, no matter how seemingly insignificant, whether noticed or not. It is as if the virtue is kept in a savings account that you can draw on in this and future lifetimes. The other day, a person here came up to me and they were troubled because they had been treating with a therapist, and the therapist was correcting her, saying that it's not good to not think of yourself and only concentrate on the well-being of others. And she felt like this idea of serving others selflessly, her psychologist said this wasn't a good idea. And what did I think? And I said, if we really have a pure motivation to really do everything we can to benefit others, we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves so that we can be the best vehicle possible to help others. If we just think, okay, I'm not going to eat anymore and just give all of my food to everybody else so that they can live, and then we die, then our benefit is very short term. So we do need to take care of ourselves. We do need to take care of our health, our well-being, our financial situation, but we have to always be very careful with our motivation. For example, the people that we admire in our society, the people that we feel are examples, the people we look up to, are they selfish people or are they unselfish people? The great figures that have transformed the world in positive ways, have they been self-interested people? Or have they been people that have had the interest of their country, of their families, of their countrymen and countrywomen above their own importance? So as I was thinking about that, it became more and more obvious that really to do positive change and to have a positive effect on people, it's necessary to attain a level of selflessness. If we just cultivate a selfish attitude, we really end up not even benefiting ourselves. The enlightened self-interest is to understand that helping others, we help ourselves. Until there's really no more difference or separation between helping others and helping ourselves. It all lines up. If we are dedicating our lives to making the world a better place in whatever way that takes shape or form, then it's our obligation to also take care of ourselves, but in a balanced way. And then we're completely aligned with the greater well-being of the world and everybody else. But we have to be careful not to delude ourselves and say, oh, well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that because I'm someday going to help others. Someday I'm going to do something positive. And in the meantime, we're just solidifying our self-interest and our selfishness. So mostly people would say to Rinpoche, how do I know if my motivation is pure? How do I know if I'm being selfish? Rinpoche said, you just have to be honest with yourself. Look very carefully at your thought process. Look very carefully at your goals and motivation. Just be honest with yourself, and you'll see. And that's a very important first step. Even before we can be honest with other people, we need to start being honest with ourselves.